Yesterday, we shared what may be a bitter pill for some to swallow, and that was the ANC is not coming to liberate you. And wait just a minute. Just because the ANC is not coming to save you does not mean you should start looking for a party that will. Because from the looks of things, most of these different politicians simply recycle the same old disappointments in new packages. Before we begin, welcome to Citizen Concerned, where we remind you to beware of the comrades. I'm Katlego and would appreciate it if you subscribed to our YouTube channel, liked and shared this video with other citizens.
With more than 1 million votes, Malema has thanked his supporters.
Thank you very much for your courage.
At rally after rally, the EFF leader has managed to draw the crowds. But Malema says the real work starts now. To ensure the party grows, he says EFF members will go out to serve the poor.
Every member of our legislature ought adopt a hospital and a school. Hospital mo manese asasebetsi le di doctor o sena metšhini, that person must expose that hospital.
When they came into the political space, the EFF appeared to be a party for the people, particularly the poor people of South Africa.
Now is going to be a festival of Africans and poor people of South Africa.
Not only were they meant to represent the needs of the poor, but they were also meant to hold leaders accountable for their actions.
At the moment, even an ordinary South African doesn't trust that when Jacob Zuma speaks, he'll be able to deliver. Now, how do you change that? How do you make sure that President Zuma does not take advantage of us, of our attention, does not take advantage of our audience? You do that by insisting on answers. And that's the constitutional limit of Parliament.
With many citizens sick and tired of the ANC's corruption and unfulfilled promises, the EFF seemed like a better alternative to the ANC. All of their actions and promises seemed very noble, exactly what South Africans needed. But this noble-looking party who wanted to hold Jacob Zuma accountable was being led by an individual who himself needed to be held accountable.
Expelled ruling party youth leader Julius Malema is being investigated for fraud, corruption and tax evasion. The vocal firebrand is also accused of inciting striking minors to commit violence.
Do you think you're inciting violence?
No! What violence?
He denies all charges against him and claims he's the victim of a political conspiracy orchestrated by President Jacob Zuma to silence him. Malema is a controversial character. He's branded himself a champion of the poor, but leads a lifestyle of the super rich, with a tax bill of around $2 million, according to the South African Revenue Service.
Right from the time he was still in the ANC Youth League, Julius Malema had already acquired a tainted reputation, owing SARS millions of rands while earning 20,000 rand in salary, which suggests ill-gotten income.
Julius Malema, accused number one. He enjoys huge support in his home province of Limpopo. The charges he faces relate to a contract to On Point Engineering. Limpopo's Roads and Transport Department awarded it a 52 million rand tender. Malema's Ratanang Family Trust was an indirect shareholder.
The same gentleman who leads a party that claims to be in support of communism, of everyone being equal, of nationalization of resources, not only fails to ensure that the state resources are well protected and well managed, but he also participates in taking some of those resources for himself and his family.
Just 2 weeks after the Hawks charged Julius Malema with money laundering, Tuli Madonsela has released a report that is almost a mirror copy of the draft charge sheet against him.
It is difficult for me to speculate why there's a coincidence.
Madonsela has not been able to find any evidence that Malema interfered with government's tender processes in Limpopo directly. But she believes he did benefit improperly to the tune of 2.2 million rand through a company that was set up solely for the purpose of getting government tenders. Madonsela found that On Point Engineering lied in its bid tender documents that it had 9 years experience. It had only been set up a few weeks prior to a 52 million rand tender being advertised in 2009. Madonsela now wants On Point Engineering blacklisted and Malema to pay back the loans and dividends he received from the company.
I thought this was a party that believed in Marxism, in communism, a party fighting to bring equality. So instead of them taking resources from the state, they ought to be giving what they have to the people they claim to be fighting for. But instead, this is what we see.
Everyone that stands up for the EFF in this say, but there were donations given from Matotsi to the EFF. Now, donations Matotsi himself uses in quotation marks, which already should show us that there's some skepticism about the definition. But then there's a very important line. Matotsi says that he and Julius and Floyd understood that this gratification, and the use of gratification is a meaningful word under our anti-corruption legislation called POCA and PRECA in South Africa. So this donation was understood by me and Julius and Floyd to be gratification in return for keeping silent and not criticizing the loan towards Jacob Zuma. That is a very important statement to make. It's not a donation in the true meaning of the word. It's a donation, meaning rather more perhaps towards a bribe, to stay silent.
People who voted for and supported the EFF wanted a government that fights for them as citizens. And one area where the EFF has managed to fight for people is when they need to confront racist people and organizations in our nation.
Crowthorne Christian Academy in Midrand has halted teaching and learning for the day. The school is currently in the spotlight after a video surfaced of a learner being kicked out, allegedly because she had dreadlocks. The incident happened on Monday.
We can't take that away from them. There they fight. Unfortunately, they take it too far when they start identifying racism even where it does not exist. It exists in some people and some parts of the nation, yet they make it seem like it exists in all white and Indian people in the entire nation. They make it seem like racism is the greatest crisis that exists in the whole nation. It's as if they are giving themselves imaginary enemies to fight in order to make themselves relevant.
This university celebrates racism. It is the center of racism. The white supremacists find comfort in this university. And we must tell them that this place will never be a home of Africans. It will be a home of isiZulu, and all official languages.
He says the higher learning institution should be renamed.
We must rename this university because the name of this university does not represent who we are. Who is Pretoria? Why should we be called Pretoria? This university cannot be University of Pretoria. You are found in Tshwane. You can only be a University of Tshwane, not a University of Pretoria.
EFF has realized that being a politician is really simple. Just pick something that is bothering people and make it a bigger crisis than it actually is. Then make all sorts of claims and promises of how you and your party are going to solve it for the citizens. That's what it is, really. And these parties, from the ANC to the EFF and the rest of them, have mastered this exaggerated crisis art that Thomas Sowell so beautifully explains. Take a listen.
There's one pattern in which you generate political support by creating a, quote, crisis, unquote. Now, since all human situations have some negative features to them, nothing is easier than to find something to complain of and to call it a crisis. A crisis does not mean that what you're talking about is any worse than anything else that human beings do. It does not even mean that it's getting worse than it was in the past. In a remarkable number of cases that I've looked at, the thing that is called a crisis has in fact been getting better for years.
It makes sense, doesn't it? What's even worse is that the way that the EFF wants to fight this and other crises and bring you solutions is in a way that is actually dangerous to you who they claim to be doing it for. The ANC is not coming to liberate you. The EFF is not coming to fight for you. If anything, the EFF has great potential to destroy you instead.
Julius is calling upon South Africans to take pain. That there's no revolution without pain. That's his take. Now, there's a revolution in Syria as we speak. Those who watch television would know what pain means. People die. There's bloodshed. There's a revolution in Egypt. There was a revolution in Egypt and Libya. In Egypt, as we speak, it's chaos. That interim president can't hold the nation together. Egypt is a gangster's paradise as we speak. There are bands of commanders-in-chief who control pockets of Libya. Now, if that's what Julius wants South Africans to do, God help us.
Some people will comment saying, yes, sure, we are willing to experience the pain of the revolution. But the problem there is you are willing to do it, not us. And what your leader seeks to do requires that all of us experience that unnecessary pain. It requires us to stop caring about ourselves and our well-being and engage in a type of forced altruism, which is wrong.
Altruism is the only excuse used, the only justification used by every dictatorship, every tyranny, every despotism, Nazi Germany, Soviet Russia, and today's American, I don't know what to call them, but they are not even liberals anymore. Every time you want something immoral, unearned, and belonging to someone else, you try to invoke altruism.
If a man fails for any reason, his own fault or through accidents, gives him a mortgage on the lives, the earnings, the property, the services of those who have not failed. And therefore the result is a hierarchy of values of which the zero is the dominant standard. To the extent to which you lack any value at all, personal, spiritual, or material, you have a claim on your betters. To the extent to which a man has achieved values, he is the sacrificial animal for any zero holder. A man who is a full altruist would have to find a cannibal village and offer himself as a meal, because that would be the only way in which he could make a total sacrifice for the sake of others, deriving nothing in return. A total altruist is in a contradiction every time he eats, because that morsel of food may be needed by someone else.
Parties like the EFF and the ANC are among the worst parties we have in this country. The only thing they have going for them is the race card. The day that citizens of this country stop using race as an issue is the day that the politics of these parties dies. Just like how people believe that the ANC was their savior, their liberator, you can understand why some people may end up believing the same about the EFF with how they speak. But as we said yesterday in the ANC video, no politician or political party is coming to save you. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can take the faith you had put in them and put it in yourself. As citizens, we have more power than we realize. We can achieve way more than we give ourselves credit for. Once again, what are your thoughts? Is there or will there ever be a political party that truly cares for every citizen? One that prioritizes all people over power? One that genuinely champions our best interests? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm Katlego. This is Citizen Concerned. And until next time, beware of the comrades.